the banks actually formed a consortium to finance this. No one bank would go out on a limb and do this by itself. Big surprise there. And, but the point is it worked, and later the group of people who had kept it going were able to purchase the building from the diocese of Portland, and now, well, Joe stayed until about 2000. This is the Joseph W. Cetera Auditorium that you're standing in. Joe and his wife Marie did something else for the school. That they have 9 children. So if you multiply that by 4, you know what their contribution to the economic well-being of the school is, courtesy of the town of Eddington. So the school today is a school of about 470 students. My title is head of school, but I have Joe's job. He was the principal. That's what it was called at that time. And those 470 kids come from more than 25 feeder schools in Maine, more than 30 towns in the state of Maine. They come from 9 countries. We have students from China, Vietnam, South Korea, Japan, Egypt, Germany, Austria, Spain, Sweden, Ecuador. That's this year's list. Not bad for a little school in Bangor, Maine. The Washington Post ranked us in 2012 the #1 high school in northern New England.
I saw that.
Maine,
so
New
cool.
Hampshire, Vermont. This is your school, right? Not bad. And I don't know if you know AP, Advanced Placement. If you have children or grandchildren, you may have heard the terminology, but the reason the school is #1 is that our school kids take more AP exams than the kids from any other school in the state of Maine. 395 AP exams. We accept more than 90% of our applicants. So we take a lot of average kids. But what we say, the little marketing tag is they may be average when they start, but they're not average by the time we're done with them. And that's even without the nuns and the brothers. There's still just a very talented, dedicated faculty here who, what you want to say to kids nowadays is aspire to something, and they all come in. Everybody's new in the 9th grade here. So they come in from all these different places, towns and countries, and they sort of form a new community, and they really do push each other in a very positive way.
What's the local percentage?
So 470 kids, 415 of those kids are Mainers. Yeah, local kids. Local, though, the Mainers include Newport, Winslow, South China, Hancock, Castine, little bit beyond what you'd call Greater Bangor, and then 59 students from overseas. Yeah, so it's a really wonderful mix of kids to get to work with. And as I'm a teaching administrator. Many of our administrators now are teachers as well. The dean of students teaches math, and I teach English, and the academic dean is a social studies teacher, and that's a nice way for us to, the kids are going to get to know us, obviously, but we'd like them to get to know us both as teachers and administrators. Anyway, so here's the auditorium, and there's Shakespeare still up there looking down on us as he was before. And what we usually do with tours is take the elevator all the way up so that gravity cooperates with us. It's a lot easier to do the tour that way. Now, if you didn't use your Stairmaster today, and you want to try it that way, we can't all fit in the elevator, but we're going to push the up button here and go as high as it lets us go. So I'm going to take the stairs around the corner. If anybody wants to come with me, follow me. Rich, why don't you be the elevator man here? That's a promotion. Rich Crow, who is a restaurateur in Bar Harbor, has Rosalie's Pizza, is a member of the Board of Trustees. So he's one who's a proud graduate who has stayed in close touch with the school, and is also on the Alumni Council, and doesn't miss much. homecomings.
That's right, now I'm the old
And now he gets to learn how to do that. So, all right, so all the way up to where we are right now is in the science wing. Darn, I'm not seeing my lab key. I thought that said lab, but it says lib, the library. And so I'm just going to keep talking. Those are dorm keys. These rooms on my left and right, we'll have to look in the windows. I'll try the different doors. Chem lab, biology lab. Now, don't tell anybody in case you have friends who are voyeurs, but when I arrived here, one of the things we decided it would be good to do, and this is recently, is to vent the chemistry lab. Now, some of you who are engineering types or just, do a little varnishing in your garage, know that that's generally accepted, good practice. But honestly, I think for years, basically the windows were cracked. And then, there was a fume hood, but I'm not sure exactly where it went. So here's a couple more.
That's anyone's guess.
Let's see.
You want to go inside?
You look sort of familiar.
Registration?
What I want to know is, do you have a key to the labs?
They always said he was the key.
Who has a cold in here?
No.
Come in the vent hoods, it'll clear your sinuses. Yeah.
This won't look exciting to you unless you're a science person.
This was the neutral zone.
But not use it at the same time.
No, not simultaneous. You can either have a Romulan in here.
And yet they want you to use it. You figure it out.
Just didn't want you to meet Eddie.
Yeah.
Does it change then?
So, actually, it looks, the woodwork's the same, right? It's got the same, it's got that wonderful board, slate board that slides up, so you can change out a new fume hood. There's a group called the John Bapst Foundation.
That was my husband.
Mr. Sakara?
Mr. Patterson.
God, it's been a long time.
It has indeed. It has indeed.
How are you?
I'm well.
Yes.
In jail.
True well.
Lying in a pine box.
Fit as a
I
fiddle.
think you graduated with my brother, Mike Shannon.
Oh, yes, I did. I did
I
indeed.
was 2 years behind.
Did you?
Yeah, this is definitely not friends. The 70s.
I never had one class in here. I never had one class in here.
Really?
Nope.
Admit it, a number of years ago.
Nice seeing you again.
I see. I just saw you.
I thought you were trying to escape.
While Mr. McKay's figuring out what he's going to say next, in today's schools, there's something called computers. This is what we had for computers back in the 1950s and 1960s. Kids look at that and they say, what is that? What do you use it for? Did it work? Yes, it worked. It worked very, very well.
Step up from his advocacy.
Exactly. Now, with the computer, you go to 15 decimal places on a heartbeat.
I used to work with one of those.
I still have one.
Teachers are, is this teacher obsessive compulsive or what? She's ready. They may not be ready for her, but she's ready. So of course, one thing we are is we're at the top. There's a roof above us, but if you can picture the way this symmetrical yards. And the auditorium is above the gymnasium. That's the center of the building. And then if you look out this window, you're looking at the science classroom wing. At least this is what it is today. And then on the other side, math classroom wing. And what we can do is wander down. We've sort of got to pick one. And I think what we'll do is we'll wander down the math side here, go down to 2. Because one place we can't miss is the library in front of the building.
Still have nightmares at night. Forgetting my combination. Trying to get the class. That still haunts me.
So these are all math classrooms, just over the 5 represented.
Well, sister looked at this room, and that this is the blank room.
I think this is where we had study hall.
She asked me permission if she could paint her room purple, and I said, John Bapst, I think that's okay. And the next door room I'll open because we're on the 3rd floor, and you'll see what a beautiful view. You'll remember, you gals will remember what a beautiful view you had. It's engineering.
Yeah.
Chalkboard. I had nightmare that Mrs. LeBlanc filling these entire things with stuff before we got in here.
We're still filled in. Oh man.
You tell me about this. You don't think the last couple of us did. Yeah, maybe.
So you'll notice what's state of the art. This is a smart board. A few of the teachers use these. There are schools around the country where every teacher has these things, but the idea is that the teacher writes on the board, and then with a couple of taps can save the whole screen digitally. If the student's absent, just send all the notes right to that student. But Joe, what I don't understand is why either you or I, we're supposed to be pretty smart people, didn't get our offices here. We had our chance.
We had our chance, but as you well remember, 2 weeks ago, it was 97 degrees up here. It's the last place we went.
Well, I was going to say, that was the second part of my state of the art. So here's the state of the art, but there are 2 fans at the back of the room. So guess what building's not air conditioned yet? And actually, we're going to pull these back down because it'll be too hot on Monday if we... We have an incredible math department. We have a math teacher who's on his way back from Dhahran, where he just did an international calculus week-long workshop. He's been sent by the College Board to the Middle East, to 2 different cities in China, to Seoul, to Czechoslovakia, to the Czech Republic, now all over the world, to Swaziland, to teach teachers how to teach calculus and statistics. We have 5 teachers who work for the College Board on their programs on the side. Oops, just fast one out, hit the light.
Yeah, you're right.
Did they close it off?
The computer lab used to be in that first building. What, it was that when I was there. Back when you had to use punch cards.
You were here in '80, I was here, I graduated in '80, you were seeing it.
Yeah. So I think that's what
Either of these formulas for any cases.
We kind of finished the girls, what used to be here.
Oh, okay.
Was this Mr. Floyd's room?
How did
Did
the 207?
did this used to be Mr. Floyd's room?
That used to be.
That was Mr. Floyd's room.
That was Mr. Floyd's room.
For
I
the
remember
girls,
that.
or for the, go back pre-1968.
Okay, did you get it?
My classroom there. How many of the girls were here pre-1968? When you walk through this door, there's something different. What used to be here? There's a major difference. And on the boys' side of the building, symmetrical, it was the same. When you walked into this room on the girls' side, through that door, if you turned to the right, that wall was not there. You had a large room, it was equivalent
Was this
to
the
2
assembly?
classrooms.
Was this the assembly?
The assembly
Oh,
room,
okay.
correct.
Where are the pictures?
They're scattered around.
Really? I would like to see some of the pictures.
But this, back in, when the enrollment of John Bapst Memorial took off, and we needed more classrooms, we had to, I put this petition up first to create one large assembly room, 2 classrooms, and then 2 years later we did the same thing on the boys' side. So those 2 rooms became 4 full-size classrooms.
So back, straight down the hall, it will be, we're headed to the library, right on your right.
3 doors, take a right.
How you doing, Tom?
When I was a student here, if I would have had the teachers that you have now, and the textbooks that you have now, I would have been a better student.
Mr. Floyd's history room.
Makes it so easy. So where's the senior freshman enrollment?
What's the enrollment?
No. This, the enrollment for freshmen that are
I didn't have these when we were here.
So this is one of those spaces that mostly looks the same, but there's some changes, aren't there, in the furniture and the tables and obviously the computers, but still the old paneling that makes it look like a college library, old-fashioned, either a college library or a Maine hunting lodge. We have our board meetings up here most of the time. And this is, the greatest thing about this room is that it's busy. The kids are in here before school and after school. Yes, boys and
Yeah,
girls.
we did that.
Yeah.
But well, we were together then too, but we weren't supposed to be.
I heard a story 2 weeks ago. One of our
female students graduated back in late 40s. And she was suspended for 2 days, forget this, for tap dancing on the boys' side of the building. The tap
They call it tap dancing.
shoes. You know Charlie Mylan IV, his wife Marie, I can't recall her maiden name. She
Gosling?
Hmm?
Charlie Marlin's wife?
You're right. Marie.
Gosling.
Gosling, that was it, thank you. She passed away about 3 years ago. She battled cancer for 4 or 5 years. And I found that out from a member of the family just 2 weeks ago. We were trading stories about John Bapst. I said, I don't believe it. There's one story I've never heard before.
Graduated in 55.
Was it 55?
Same year I did.
She was given a 2-day holiday for tap dancing on the boys' side. There's one structural change in the library that occurred back in 1999. We put the elevator in. Remember in the auditorium, at the rear wall, that was that invisible door with the steel circular staircase going down to where the ticket booth was? Well, when we put the elevator in, that's where the elevator shaft is, and that is right over. There used to be 3 alcoves here in the library. In the middle one is the one that was reconfigured to accommodate the elevator shaft going from the gym to the foyer, first, second, third floor, and then there's 2 stops up to the 3rd floor for anyone's accessibility with disabilities. And all the wood in this here came from the library itself. There's one piece of wood that I'll defy anybody to find that did not come from the library. It came from the auditorium to finish it. But everything else was wood that they saved when they took the wood out. They knew what they were going to try to do. They made no promises, but they were able to keep it. They didn't think there was going to be enough of these little blocks, but there was just enough to bring that out and around. Nixon O'Day did all the work, and they had an old-time carpenter that just loved working on this project, especially this room here.
Okay. So are we supposed to be looking for something, Joe?
Computer labs.
No, I'm talking about the piece of wood.
Oh, no, you can look for one. It's only about 3/8 inch thick.
We've got a party to get to. We don't have enough time for that.
Besides,
You can take for a while and you can videotape me.
oh.
I went here too. Only 1 year. 1 year. Senior year.
Well, that's the most important year.
That is. That's what I like.
That's because you met me.
Teacher is responsible for creating an immersion experience within the classroom on a daily basis.
It's supposed to be green.
I think so. Probably.
Getting the next generation moved out of the other schools. Here we're passing a couple of language rooms. You notice that one of our languages is Chinese. We offer 4 levels, and you can do Chinese 1 through 4, just as you could do Latin or Spanish or French.
Yes, Sicilianus for Latin.
So didn't we all.
It's a game certificate. Didn't know that.
The building is wireless. Some kids bring their own iPads and laptop computers. We have laptop cards for teachers if they wanted they want every teacher. Hi, Mike Murphy. Meet the alums. Yes, I know. Mike is the director of technology, so he's coming out of his classroom where he teaches computer programming and a variety of other courses. There's another room here configured for a variety of teaching needs, but it has a computer set up so that we can do standardized testing.
Just a quick comment. Yeah.
What was Sister Luanis' room? Pretty sure. Either Mrs. Pastore.
So we're passing by the English classrooms and going down to the music wing.
I worked in the cafeteria.
So we're in an area that's actually, besides being in the basement, this is one of the more recent renovations. The room to my left was pretty nasty, but we realized it was actually valuable space and did a small cleanup project in order to give the music department a little bit more elbow room. This music department is unbelievable. Joe knew that if this was going to, Joe knew the school was going to have to reinvent itself. Not being able to count on the parochial school tradition in the same way. And the trick, of course, also was that Bangor's a small town. You couldn't just open a fancy private school here. You needed people to come. And he knew that talented kids would play sports and they would play music and do art and they do it all. So he started from, the stories are very funny. I think the music teacher the first year had something like 7 kids in the band. She has never left. Julie Ewing is her name, and Al McIntyre, the head of the department, have both been here more than 25 years. So what we're seeing today in instrumental and vocal music is something that literally was a ground up. It now takes an entire room to store the instruments and the music. This is the band room for
Used to be the lunchroom.
That's right.
Used to be the lunchroom.
It's a smoking room.
Unpremeditated. This band room, I'll let a couple more people come in here. This band room, if you look up, you can see that we're not exactly in Carnegie Hall here. Though the basement of Carnegie Hall probably looks like this too. But you notice the carpeting on the walls and baffling on the walls. We've done some things so that when a band practices here, you hear each note once. This is Julie Ewing I was just talking about. Julie has built this band up to the point where last year we had 114 kids in the band. There were only, last year, there were 444 kids in the whole school. 114 in the band, 70 in the chorale, about 18 in the jazz band, which won the state competition, and on it goes. We have a chamber ensemble, we call it, and that's what you call a little classical group that, where you, in a good year, you have 4 violinists, 1 violist, and a borrowed cellist from another school. And last year, how many in the chamber ensemble?
Almost 30.
So I've been saying to Julie, we really have a chamber orchestra now.
And this year we have 2 cellos, 2 violas, 9 violins, and tremendous classical players for trumpet.
Yeah.
And I think we have 3 budding string bass players.
Well, your genius is, we have to play a very wide repertoire range, because we're going to play the Star Wars theme at the football game. It's a kind of a pep rally thing. We're going to play the fight song. But at the winter concert last year, the chamber ensemble played a movement from Mozart.
Piano concerto. Yeah.
Mozart piano concerto with, and played a Mozart piano concerto with 3 pianists. So you know how concerto goes. There's you start with the solo instrument of the orchestra, depending on how the composer has envisioned it. You have some solo playing. There's a nice spot where the soloist just sits there. Our soloists actually traded places, and a new one sat down, played the middle section, got up and went away, and a third one sat down, because we've got too many. Most schools that I know of would simply make a decision about who was best, and that kid would get it. And Julie doesn't work that way. If you tell her, don't tell her that you play the clarinet. You'll be back here on Tuesday. So we're going to continue through to the chorale.
Are you going back to CDOG? Or are you just here for a tour?
We are. I'm gonna ask you,
Okay.
yes, I went to school there. I knew, as soon as they said your name, I said, I know Julie.
Well, you look so familiar.
Kathy Simpson.
Of course you are. How are you?
Good.
And
I graduated here in 1980.
so you graduated the year before?
The year,
I came-
the year it stopped being Catholic, and the next year it was going to close.
I think I came in 82.
Yeah,
I don't know when I came.
This is my husband Randy.
Hi.
He graduated in 1980 also, so.
Nice.
But I said, Julie, are you? And I was like, I know her.
Uh-huh.
And when I saw you, like, I definitely know her.
Yeah, so when I started the band here, I had 9 Orrington kids, and that's how I started.
Wow. Yeah, I remember, I think that, weren't you there right after, either Mrs. Love left?
Yeah, right after.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I built the band there,
Yeah.
and then I moved here.
Yeah, they knew who you were. That's so funny that we,
Isn't that funny? It's nice to see you.
we don't get live here now, we live in Arizona. But we came because we were,
How's Arizona?
oh, love it, absolutely love it.
I've always wanted to move to Arizona.
But we were able to arrange a vacation this year to be able to go to the Sea Dog and
I'm going to that.
And we have another reunion that we're going to tomorrow for a square dancing group I used to be in when I was a kid. So, and then we're going up to Caribou because his parents live up there, so we're gonna,
Oh my God, so do you come home very often?
every year.
Oh, good.